Hello and welcome to the Microsoft Military Affairs MSSA program brief for February 2025. My name is Joe Wallace and I'm the Director of Engagement for the Military Affairs team, and I'll be providing you the brief today. The mission at Microsoft is to empower every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more. On the Military Affairs team, our mission is helping the military community find opportunities in today's digital economy. The MSSA program, here's the overview of the program. It provides transitioning service members and veterans technical and career skills required for today's growing technology industry. You have a choice of 3 technical learning paths based on your interests and what career goals you have. There are 448 hours of in-class technical training and 147 hours of what we call professional development instruction, and that's preparing you to interview and engage for opportunities. The program's fully funded by Microsoft. There's no cost to the service member or the veteran for the program. For the veterans, we're not paying you to be in the program either. So just to let you know that. Your day-to-day, it's a full-time commitment, so it's not a part-time program. It's not a program you take at night. It's not recorded material. It's live virtual instruction from a instructor, and there's a Microsoft Career Development Manager who's with you through the whole program as well. So everybody's on camera, and it's a full-time day-to-day program. 17 weeks, 120 days, and it's 8 to 5 p.m. The program it's on time zone, so it's on the Pacific or Central time zone or the start times. So you'll find out when you apply what each individual cohort is and in what time zone it begins, and you're able to apply to anyone that you'd like. Currently, we're at 15 participants per cohort, and additional effort outside class is expected. So there are projects, and you work with other cohort members and do individual projects as well. So this is MSSA by the numbers over the time that we've offered the program. We're just about to go over 4,000 program graduates. Our graduation rate is 94%. 96% are employed. Of the 4% that are not in this particular statistic is usually because we don't hear back from the individual, so we have no specific data on their employment. 90% are employed in tech, and we've worked with over 1,100 external companies who have hired from the program over the time that we've offered MSSA. So the hiring is internal to Microsoft or with our engagement with our corporate partners. So these are some of the roles that individuals have landed after completing MSSA. It's not the whole list, obviously, but this kind of divides it up by learning path. We'll talk a little bit more detail about each learning path in the following slides. So server and cloud administration, that's your network admin learning path. Systems engineers, software engineers, cloud, everything is done in our Azure cloud platform. Information security officer, and then for cloud application development, which is your software development track, you'll see the roles there: software engineer, developer, application developer, .NET, and then cybersecurity operations, operations analysts, security engineers, and network administrators on the security side. This kind of gives you the day-to-day breakout of the program and what to expect. So during the technical instruction weeks, Monday through Thursday, you're receiving technical instruction on your learning path. And then on Friday, that's managed by your career development manager, and that's a professional development day. Each Friday will be different, all depending on where you are in the program. As you're getting close to the end, more and more activity is around interviewing and getting your resume out to partner companies or internally to Microsoft, so to get you to begin interviewing for roles as you complete the program. And then week 9 is a week that's completely dedicated to professional development. It's a nice break from the technical instruction. And again, your career development manager will manage that week. It's different for each cohort. So there's guest speakers internally from Microsoft that'll talk about potentially opportunities that they have to offer or what they're doing in the business. There's a mentor program of Microsoft employees, most of them prior service, but we also have others that are just interested in supporting the military community. and they're assigned to you for the full 17 weeks of the program. And within that mentor group, there's always one or two of those that are technical mentors, which means they're working in the technology that you're learning in your learning path. And as you see here, it's 8 to 5. The first hour is typically kind of a admin hour, so you're getting ready for the technical instruction. There may be some administrative things that your a career development manager will be passing on to you. So the day's broken up 8 to 5, but there's some space during the day for what you need to do to prepare, or over the 17 weeks you may have an appointment or something you need to take care of if you're transitioning, and you just work that out with your career development manager. So this is the program component. So again, the technical curriculum, it's live, real-time virtual classroom, so it's not recorded materials. You'll have an instructor assigned to you through the full 17 weeks. There may be other instructors that come in when you get specific on a particular technology. And these are certified Microsoft trainers, and the learning partner is a certified Microsoft learning partner. There's hosted labs and lab challenges. You'll do some sort of like some hackathon type of activity. You work with your fellow cohort members, and then you're also assigned personal projects, or if you may be building an application or whatever that project might be. And then, as I said earlier, as you're getting through the program and closer to the completion, you'll begin having mock interviews and working on getting ready to engage with opportunities as you complete the program. But there's some provided learning resources as well while you're in. Everything is done in our Azure platform, our Azure cloud. And so you'll have a subscription to the cloud during the time of the course, so you can do all your work within Azure. Certification vouchers are provided as well. We'll go into that in a little more detail in the following slide, but there's an opportunity to complete certifications while you're in the cohort. It's not a prerequisite to complete one, but a large percentage of folks are at least completing the foundational certificate for their learning path. And then there's other resources available per each learning path, and it evolves over time as we evolve the delivery of the technology, or we have new technology that comes aboard. A little more detail on each particular learning path. So server and cloud administration, that's network admin. The different topics that are covered, PowerShell, networking, Azure Intra ID, Azure Fundamentals and Endpoint Management, and Azure Administration. And the certificate options you see on the right, the Azure Fundamentals, that's the foundational Azure certificate. Many individuals are completing that prior to completing MSSA. And then the higher level certificate is the Azure Administrator Associate. For your cloud application development learning path, that's your software development path. Programming in C#, that's Microsoft's C language. You'll cover data structures and algorithms, developing web applications, Azure Fundamentals and Azure Development. That's writing code in Azure. And then the certificates as well. The Azure Fundamentals is also the foundational certificate for cloud application development. And then the higher level certificate is the Azure Developer Associate Certificate. For cybersecurity operations, you have Windows Server Core Technologies, the CompTIA Security Plus and the CYSA Plus certificates, Azure Administration Endpoint Management, Azure Security Technologies, Security Operations, and Azure Intra ID. The certificates for the cybersecurity learning path are the Security Compliance and Identity Fundamentals Microsoft Certificate, and then the higher level one is the Microsoft Security Operations Analyst. And as I said, these certificates are not a requirement to complete the program. They're an option. Most people are pursuing them because it makes you more marketable as you interview for internal Microsoft opportunities or with our employer partners. So a little bit about our professional development components, what we offered on each Friday, and then for that full professional development week in week 9. It's a custom curriculum designed by the Microsoft Military Affairs team. We do a resume a review and work with you on building a great resume. Interview preparation, you work with your mentors on the interview prep as well, how to interview for a tech role. Sometimes for some of the internal technical roles, you may go to a whiteboard and be asked to write some code or do whatever you might do for that particular opportunity. We also worked on your LinkedIn profile, which should be your online resume. Many companies, and Microsoft included, go to LinkedIn for finding talent. So we work with you quite a bit on LinkedIn and using it as a networking tool as well. And then our mentors, as I said, there's mentors assigned to each learning path, and they're with you throughout the full 17 weeks. And you could get some individual mentoring from them, and then there's group mentoring, and then also there's technical mentoring for those that have the technical background in the learning path that you're in. And then you can learn about the day-to-day life of what somebody does at Microsoft from these mentors as well. They'll be in different areas of the company, and each cohort has a different group of mentors. So it all depends on who's assigned to you and what they're doing day to day at Microsoft. We have a MSSA job board for companies interested in hiring talent from MSSA. Hiring partners come in during the professional development week or throughout the 17 weeks on Friday to present their opportunities. We've had some companies build a program around MSSA, and they hire talent from MSSA over time when they're interested in hiring and when they have needs of hiring individuals that have the skill sets coming out of MSSA. Alumni resources, we always say once MSSA, always MSSA. So we're always here to support you when you complete the program. If you're hired internally at Microsoft, there's an alumni group here at the company. They get together periodically, and we have events where they can talk about their experiences with internal Microsoft employees. We try and get more areas of the business interested in hiring from MSSA. We have an invitational LinkedIn group, and people network and stay connected there. An alumni job board. So if you go to an external company, one of our hiring partners, and you're there for a couple years, but begin to look for other opportunities, we're here to support you with that as well. And special events, and like I said, there's alumni mentoring. Many alumni currently in Microsoft are part of our mentoring group that works with each cohort as they move forward. So a little bit about the application process. So you submit an application in an application window, and then there's some documentation you have to complete, and you have to satisfy some learning prerequisites, which are done on LinkedIn. And then there's an MSSA interview. So that's kind of the process. Submit the application, submit the required documentation. If you're on active duty, it has to be that command approval and your CSP paperwork or SkillBridge paperwork, depending on what service you're in. And then there's a LinkedIn course that you take that aligns to the learning path that you choose when you apply, and then that 30-minute interview at the end of the process, and then you'll find out if you've been selected for MSSA. Our upcoming cohort dates that we're not yet taking applications for. So July 7th to October 31st is the next group of cohorts. The learning paths, as you'll see, is all three of the learning paths will be offered during that time frame. And they're offered in Central and Pacific time, and all of our cohorts are offered in Pacific or Central time. So they're and you can select any time zone that you would like, depending on what it aligns to for a learning path or what works best for you. So the application window, that's very important because you have to apply during that window. So during that 2-week window, you just have to complete the application, which takes about 15 to 20 minutes. Probably the most important part of it is you have to get a @outlook.com email address, and we communicate with you on that email address throughout the whole application process and then through the cohort. So that's very important, and it's important you have to do it within that time frame. February 17th to March 3rd, 2025 is for the upcoming cohorts that begin in July. And then everything has to be in by April 28th, 2025. So that's your materials cutoff date. All the documentation, if you're active duty, as well as your LinkedIn learning course, you have to upload that certificate by April 28th. And then for the next set of cohorts, they begin in August 25th to December 19th, 2025. Again, all three learning paths will be offered. And then the application window for that is April 7th to April 21st. And the cutoff date is June 16th, 2025. So just the same as the previous cohort dates, very important that you apply during the application window, and then that you have everything in at the materials cutoff date. The interview, so you do have a interview at the end, and then from that point, there's sort of a rank order of those that do the interview, and then we make the selections, and all materials must be submitted to be eligible for the interview, and you'll be interviewing with folks on the military affairs team, and the interview includes situational as well as behavioral questions. And applicants must demonstrate, I'm just going to read them out, a motivation and passion for technology, a career interest in the tech industry, ability to collaborate and work in challenging and diverse environments, and interest in learning the technical topics of each of the learning path that you apply to. So these are the prerequisites for each learning path. So for the server and cloud administration, you have LinkedIn Learning, it's networking and administration fundamentals. And there's a link there for that learning path on LinkedIn. You do have to have a LinkedIn Premium subscription to access this, and we can talk a little bit about that as well. Those of you that are active duty or veterans, you get 1 year of free LinkedIn Premium, and we can cover this in the question and answer period as well. Or if you have questions about that, you can email our operations team. Other requirements is if you have certifications or work experience, please submit those and let our application team know. And then interview topics include networking tools, communication protocols, OSI model, IP. These are some of the items that you will cover in your LinkedIn learning course. So be prepared to speak about that as well in the interview. Don't take the course and the exam and then forget it all prior to the interview, because you may receive some questions on what you learned in that LinkedIn learning course. The prerequisites for the cloud application development learning path is, again, the LinkedIn learning course. It's software development fundamentals is the course, and custom collection is another Microsoft course that you take, and there's a link there. It's aka.ms/MSSA collection CAD, CAD. Other requirements are the certificates of Free Code Camp, Foundational C# with Microsoft certification, and there's no work experience required. So for the cloud application development and the server cloud administration learning path, there's no work experience required. You just have to complete the prerequisites. Interview topics include and again, these topics are areas of learning in the LinkedIn learning course. So again, be prepared to speak to what you've learned. Variables and data types, object-oriented programming, C#, again, is the Microsoft C language, classes, methods, and objects, inheritance, polymorphism, error handling, algorithms, and data structure, as well as version control. And then for the cybersecurity operations learning path, the prerequisite LinkedIn learning course is Cybersecurity Fundamentals. The certificates requirements include CompTIA Security Plus, and then at least 1 year of work experience in cybersecurity. And these include InfoSec, a security operations analyst, a security operations center individual, or cybersecurity operations center experience. And this has evolved a little bit over time. So we continue to look at trends in employment at different levels and what our learning path will best meet those needs in the industry. So we speak to our internal cyber teams at Microsoft and with our employer partners to make sure that we're keeping the cyber track up to date and it serves you best for finding employment in the industry. Interview topics, and again, these are what's included in your prerequisites. NIST/NICE framework, security development lifecycle, cyber attacks, network security, identity and access management, incident management, threat management, and security tools. So other resources to look at as you're looking at the Microsoft Military Affairs team and the MSSA program. So if you go to our website, it's military.microsoft.com, and you go to our blog, there's many stories and testimonials and videos and of our graduates who are here at Microsoft and at other companies as well. We highlight a few those internal Microsoft hires on Andrew Richardson, Solaire Brown, and Anthony Sale. There's kind of some interesting aspects of how they came to MSSA and what they're currently doing at Microsoft. We have the Hackathon 2017 winner, and Anthony Sale was part of that team. He comes from one of our earlier cohorts at Camp Pendleton. And then applying to MSSA, we have a Tech Transition Toolkit. Wrote some great information for you as you look at the tech industry as a career. Making a career change, questions you need to ask yourself. How to get LinkedIn for veterans for a free premium. That's a YouTube video. And then 5 tips for an amazing interview. You have access to this slide deck as well if you email our MSSA Ops team, and I'll put that in the chat when I complete the slide deck, but I'll just say it out loud. It's MSSA Ops, so MSSA OPS at Microsoft.com. So if you ever have any questions that you don't find on our website, or you need some information on some aspect of what you see in this deck, or you can ask for this deck by emailing MSSA Ops at Microsoft.com. So if for some reason MSSA is not a fit for you, or you're looking for another pathway into Microsoft, these are some other resources. So we're a participating company in the Hiring Our Heroes Fellowship Program. In fact, we currently have over 40 fellows at Microsoft from the Hiring Our Heroes Corporate Fellowship Program, and there's 3 different cohorts each year. And also we have a military a data center partnership internally with our data center team. That's another pathway into Microsoft. Many of the skill sets they're looking for in the data center pathway are critical infrastructure around a data center. So if you're an electrician, a mechanic, or have those sorts of skills, or want to develop those sorts of skills, their training program can set you up for a role at a Microsoft data center across the country. And there's more information on that at that website, aka.ms/MDP. We have a spouse program for military spouses and spouses of veterans. We're currently in the pilot of that program, and we'll have another cohort beginning soon, and then one in the fall. So if you're interested in or want to pass this on to a military spouse, you can find out information on that on our website as well. There's a Microsoft apprenticeship program. It's LEAP. It's not military specific, but you can apply to it. And that's aka.ms/LEAP, LEAP. And it's not an ongoing program in the sense that it's offered each month. Periodically, a business at Microsoft will be interested in having an apprenticeship program for positions that they want to hire for. So they will work with our LEAP team and offer that apprenticeship. So if you just keep up to date with LEAP, you'll see when they're offering apprenticeships and what that apprenticeship is in at Microsoft. Student veteran recruiting. So our university recruiting team is always looking for great student veteran talent. If you know anyone who's currently in school or completing a degree, or have completed their degree within the last year, they're eligible under our university recruiting team. And then if you just want to apply directly to Microsoft, you just go to our career site and just apply directly for roles that fit the experience that you have and where you're looking to land at Microsoft. So stay up to date with all our social pages. Monitor our website, just aka.ms/MSSA. We'll have all the updated MSSA information. We have a great frequently asked questions page as well. You can email the team, as I said earlier, at mssaops@microsoft.com with any further questions. And then we're on LinkedIn, on YouTube, and on Facebook, and on X as well. Thank you very much. That ends the slide deck.